Now then, crew, welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now I'm flat out today getting Toolgirl Sarah's Suzuki GSXR750 of the 1999 vintage, basically all fixed up, ready to go for certification. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if it all goes to plan, we can get it delivered on Monday, because I'm away basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with work. And it'd be very useful to kick off the certification process before I go away, and then it's all happening in the background. So Sarah put together a huge list for me after we did the initial inspection of the bike. We've done the head bearings. The last video I've just done was replacing the front left hand disc. Bit concerned, the disc is quite different in appearance to the original, and it may well get flagged as not, even though mechanically it's the same size, it's got different size drillings in it, and they may be picky on certification, and I might have to buy another disc. I'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we've got on this video the front brake pads on this bike to replace, because obviously we've replaced one of the discs. It needs to have new pads. You can't really use the old pads, and they're pretty close to being worn out anyway. So this is the old disc that's come off. You won't see the warpage, but you did see if you watch the inspection videos. This is over 2 millimeters of run out. It's bent. It's not just warped, it's actually bent. And it got damaged when the bike fell off a hoist back in Canada while it was being worked on in a motorcycle shop. Pretty bad, really. They should be paying for a new disc, shouldn't they? Maybe I should give them a call. So they're the new brake pads. We're using Freddos, or Freddos as we like to call them, and the part number is FDB 873P. Now they're not cheap, about $50 a pair here in New Zealand, but they're actually pretty good, and these are a sintered type, so that should give Sarah some pretty good brakes on the front of a bike for her. Okay, so we'll head over to the bike. We'll basically work out, because I haven't done one of these before, we'll work out how to get the pads out of the caliper, because they're quite often different. This is a fixed caliper with pistons both sides. It's not a floating caliper. So there'll be probably a metal shield to remove, and probably a pad retaining pin. Get the old ones out, clean it up, put some copper paste on the relevant bits, get it all back together. And I'll just do one caliper to the camera, because, you know, once you've seen one, you've seen them all, basically. Okay, crew, let's crack on, because I'm running out of time. Here we go. Okay, see what we've got. Okay, so it's a 6-pot caliper, a fixed caliper, and it's just got the 2 brake pads in there. Sometimes, like on the R1s and stuff, they have lots of individual brake pads. These are just 2 big long ones. There's 6 pistons in there, all waiting to seize up. Jeez. Okay, so how do we get the pads out? Well, looks like we've got a little pad retaining, basically a shield that's here. That needs to be taken off. And by the looks of it, it's a number 4 Allen key, so that should be pretty easy. All we need to do is not lose the bolts, I suppose. And these are little cap heads. I think they're on what size? They're about 3mm? Yeah, 3mm cap head. There's one. Geez, you can imagine losing those, can't you? Tiny. Okay, put them on the tripod trolley. Hopefully I won't lose them, because I don't think I'll have any spares of those. Ben might have one in his bicycle shed. Maybe. Don't know. Okay, right, so there we are. We've got a pad retaining pin, which looks a little bit bent, and we'll need some long nose pliers for that, so we'll just rotate that round, if it will. There we go. Get that pin out. R-clip is what that is. And then, oh there we go, look, nice and easy. Not seized at all. Super. I'll give that pin a bit of a clean, and the pads should, there we go, look, come straight out. Super job. Okay, they're not too bad, but it's a new disc, has to have new pads, but Sarah can keep these just in case she has to, you know, if the other ones wear out one day, she's run out of money, these will get her back on the road again. Easy. Okay, so what do we do to the caliper? Well, we're going to have to push these pistons back. Now, they look pretty grubby, so I need to give them a bit of a clean, because what we don't want to do is push the dirt in to where the seals are inside the caliper body. That would be terrible. So we'll get some brake cleaner. Really good soak. And then try and get some kind of rag in there and give it a bit of a clean, I think. Yeah. Oh, that's not too bad, it's cleaned up pretty well. Very dirty job is this. I would strongly recommend that you put gloves on, which is what I normally do, but you know, when you're in a rush, your hands get all sweaty, don't they? And I wouldn't say I'm rushing this project, but it's going on for a while. I've been away a lot. I feel like I'm letting Sarah down. I want to get this bike done and get her on the road, get her happy again, because she's not happy. Poor lass. Okay. Let's get some. I've got some other kind of brake cleaner. Might work a bit better. Ta-da! See how this is going to work. It's actually pretty evil stuff, is this? Oh, I can see shiny stuff. So if I had the caliper off the bike, then I could hold it in the vise and run the rag around the piston, but I'm not bleeding the brakes. That's not going to happen on this job. And brake clean's fine for cleaning calipers because it doesn't damage the seals. If you use something like WD-40 or something, then that can be really bad on the the caliper seals and cause them to swell. So whatever you do, don't use anything like that on these. You're better off not doing anything, to be perfectly honest. A little flat screwdriver is what I need. Too fat of fingers, that's the problem. There you go, not bad, eh? Not bad. Okay, I reckon that'll do. It's pretty good. If this was my own bike, I'd be stripping these calipers down to nothing and rebuilding them, but I just don't have time for that with this one, unfortunately. Always a compromise, isn't it? There we go, I reckon that'll do. You got the idea. Okay, so these should, in theory, push in by hand. And if they do, then they're in good condition. Be careful because the other ones might pop out on the other caliper, so just keep an eye out for those. But we're only moving them a short distance, so it shouldn't be too bad, he says. That one's a bit stiff. That one's alright. That was easy. Yeah, they all move pretty easily. I'm just going to get some. Oh, there we are. Look, that's it. Let's get some pipe wrenches. Just give them a little tweak. Just want to make sure that they're all the way in, so we don't have any problems later on fitting the pads. Geez, these need to clean, don't they? Been out in the rain by the looks of it. Benjamin. Okay, that's that one. Just get them all so that they're all flush. They should sit flush. If your customers bother up marking the caliper, then obviously a bit of cardboard or something's a good idea. There we go. One, that's good. Cool. Right, I'm actually very happy with the condition of those pistons. They've all pushed back really well. Okay, now we need the new brake pads. Okay, well the first job is to make sure we've got the right pads, isn't it, really? So, looks to me like they're both the same. Inner and outer are identical. We'll just put them back to back. Just make sure that everything lines up. It does. Well done, Jeremy. These came from Cycle Treads. Jeremy sorted these out for me. Cheers, Jeremy. Done a good job, mate. Appreciate that, as always. Okay, now, on the brake pads themselves, we need to apply some copper paste. Now, these are the sliding surfaces that allow the pad to float from side to side, so it doesn't rub on the disc. And I think, pretty sure we're going to need a bit along the ends of the pad. Along there. And then, obviously we'll put some on the pin, once I've cleaned that up. But where the pistons sit on the back of the pad, it also needs some copper paste. Now that's to help reduce brake squeal. And not that many motorcycle mechanics do this kind of stuff. Some bike mechanics just don't do it at all. They just don't believe in it. But I do, and I do it, and it seems to work for me. So the trick is not to put too much on. What you don't want is that migrating onto the brake pad. That will be terrible. Right, there's one. Now for number two. There we go. So what we don't want are the pads binding on the disc, because when Sarah first tested this bike and we spun the front wheel, there was quite a bit of resistance going on there, and that's going to slow you down. And when you're riding a motorcycle, it's not about going slow, is it? Let's face it. It's about going fast. Mind you, saying that, usually your front wheel's in the air, so it doesn't matter too much on your front brake, does it? Okay. Right, here we go. So before I install the pads, I need to give that pin a bit of a clean up. So I wasn't going to do that. You guys have a coffee, and I'll see you in a second or two. Ping! As if by magic, all cleaned up. Now you can see on there now, there's some pretty serious wear on that pin. And that's no good. This really needs to be renewed. And I'll let Sarah know the next time she gets some brake pads fitted, or get this brake serviced, these need to be replaced, because those big indents there, they're going to cause the pads to stick in one place. Not good. That could be another reason why the pads were binding. Okay, so again, a bit of copper paste on there. Try and cause it to be as slippy as possible, which is the idea. But again, you don't want much, because otherwise it could drop onto the braking surface. Right. Okay, one caliper. Right. Now the pads are the same, so we can just drop them in there, look like that. They should, in theory, float. Yes, that's cool. Okay, happy with that. That's one. And whatever you do, don't fit the pads the wrong way around, i.e. steel plate to the disc, because that does tend to make a bit of noise, and they don't work very well, to be honest, as my brother-in-law found out one day. Hey up, Dan, if you're watching the video. That's the first time I've mentioned that. It'll kill me. Okay, now for the pin. And the pin goes in like that, through that one, and down into the housing. There we go. Then all we need to do now is rotate it round, look, and fit that little R-clip again, which is just there. And don't let it fly across your workshop. That would be bad. You see? Floating quite nicely. Super job. Right, we'll pop it on, and then I'll put that cover on last so I can see what I'm doing. Get rid of our protective rag. Hold the pads apart. Wrong way around, Mr. Young. What do you like? Okay, hang on then. Like that. There we go. Usually put my fingers between the two pads as I offer it up. And there you go. That is now lined up. Okay, I'm just going to stick one of the caliper bolts in for now just to hold it. That's only temporary, because what I need to do now, as you should with all caliper bolts, is put thread lock on the threads. The only time you don't put thread lock on, or the only time I don't put thread lock on, as if it's an off-road bike and these tend to be seized in, then I'll put copper paste on them, which is quite the opposite of thread lock. And it's there to help them to be undone again later on, especially vehicles that go on the beach. Definitely. Right, what am I thinking? Okay, right. Almost put copper paste on. Right, thread lock. That's what we need. There we go, look. Just a little bit. And then that goes down here, in that one. And now we can take this one back out. Give it a bit of a clean. I do like the aerosol brake clean actually, it's pretty good. Comes out more ferocity, sort of blasts the dirt off. Tend to use less as well, which is good. Okay, the thread lock on that one. Super job. Put that in there. I suppose the next thing to do will be to torque these down. So I'll go and find out a torque setting for these bolts. Bear with me. Right, as if by magic, 39 Newton meters is what Mr. Suzuki tells us. Great job. Okay, what's left? Well, that little metal plate needs to go on. What that little metal plate does, it stops the pads from rattling around. It pushes down on the pads in the middle, just holds them against that pin. Probably another reason why that pin's so worn, because it's got this always pressing down on the pads, causing it to sort of rub. Okay, right, so what we'll do is put one of those on there, because they're too small for me to hold. Again, a little bit of thread lock. Everything gets thread lock for me. Just a dab, that's all it wants, because if we lose these, we're screwed. And then, that's right, see, it sits on the pads on those bits there, look. Pushes the pads down, stops them rattling. So that goes on there like that. Find the threads, hold fingers. Here we are. Definitely start these ones by hand, they're tiny little threads, aren't they? Right. And the second one. All it needs, a little tiny dab. Okay. And it's under a bit of a tension actually, is this? It's never easy. There we go. Right, I'm going to use an Allen key for that top one because it's really close is the socket to the rim, and I don't want to take all the paint off the rim. And as regards a torque setting for these, no, just not a lot. There you go. See if I can get in there. Maybe. It's not too bad now because the ratchet's against the tyre. Nope, needs an Allen key. There we go, mine are in the car, so this is Ben's. Thanks, Ben. That'll do. Give that one a little tweak. Yep, it's fine. Perfect. Right, now normally once you've done both of these calipers, then you pump the brakes up using the brake lever. I can't do that yet because I've still got the other caliper to do. But you don't need to see that, do you? Okay, back to the bench. Well, crew, there you go. Fitting new brake pads. Oh, I've got to stick my hands. Fitting new brake pads to the front of a 1999 GSXR 750. Very, very simple. You probably, if you're in a bit of a rush, you could probably do it without even taking the calipers off. But I suppose pushing the pistons back would be a bit harder, wouldn't it? Plus you need to do a bit of visual and clean those pistons before you push them back in again. If there's any signs of rust or pitting, these new pistons. Okay, well, still got loads more to do, but we can tick that one off the list, can't we? It's quite a long list. I'm sure there's more things to go on it. So there we go, look. Front brake pads, done. Excellent. Sarah will be very happy. If you enjoyed the video, why not click on the subscribe button? Then you can turn on notifications, and our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals, but first point of contact, if you wouldn't mind, through the comments on YouTube, because they're the ones that I always monitor. And, you know, the question you're going to ask may well have already been answered, so do have a little scroll down and read through the other comments. There's also a Patreon page now, so if you want to drop onto there, if you decide you want to pledge, then that'll be fantastic. If not, hey, don't worry about it. It's all good. There's more information on there about the background of the YouTube channel, historic stuff, and what's coming up in the future. So a bit of behind the scenes info for you. Okay, crew. Well, that's it. Until next time, I'll see you around. Cheers. Over and out. Hey, Tool Girl Sam. How are you?
Back.
You're back! Fantastic.
So
I know, and I've got a new shirt, so I thought it's only right that I give you a new shirt too, so there you go.
yes, so excited for my new shirt. Then I don't have to wear different shirts every day. And as a classic Tool Girl Sam move, I am going to wear it like this. Wow, would you look at that? I'd say that is a great present for your girlfriend if she's into tools. If she's not, she's probably into tools because you're a tool. See what I did there? Tool girl shirt, perfect.